Fantasy season is here. The NFL has begun, and it is time, everybody. The Fantasy Couriers are proud to be partnered with Underdog Fantasy, the most amazing, greatest daily fantasy sports site. You might have done all their best ball games during the offseason. I have friends that did dozens and dozens and dozens and are still talking about them. Now we're in season, and it is time for Pick'em. You can pick player stats. You can pick highs or lows of various stats within a game. It is an exciting time. You can stack them. There are specials throughout the season that will make the game even more exciting. And to make things better, Underdog Fantasy has an exclusive offer for new customers. Claim your mystery pickup and get a 100% deposit match up to $100 now by signing up on Underdog using the code COURIERS. Once you make that first deposit, head to the Pick'em lobby and find out which player special you get. If you're already a customer, share the code Couriers to support our amazing podcast so that we can continue to grow with Underdog and have a blast in season with you. Now, on to the show.
What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Week 4, JJ Wang. The teams are starting to, looks like the cream is rising, but there's some lumpy cream in the middle. There's some fake cream. I don't even know today. You know how I'm feeling. I'm a little down in the dumps, but there were some stellar performances I'm sure you're going to get to, and some weird stellar performances. And some
this is probably the most football I got to watch since it started. But I mean, I thought it was a pretty good week. I mean, the people that performed mainly performed. I thought overall, it was a pretty good week. I mean, even though there was like a few bright spots for me that I was rooting for that had some pretty good, I'm sure, but that's every week for everybody. Might get into a couple of those too, but I mean, I enjoyed it.
I mean, you and I, we're going to have some good showdowns with our one league. Your dumpster team all of a sudden is good in a dynasty. It proves that dynasty, you never know with your team at the beginning of the year we thought was garbage, and all of a sudden you're dominating.
I mean, it looks. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not getting too excited because I know it can also, go in the opposite direction. But I mean, I think the players that I have, I mean, are pretty consistent players. I don't have like any superstars, but I think they're all pretty consistent. It just pretty much depends on if we get the Justin Fields today or the Justin Fields in the past. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
I'm sure we will. So enough of our banter. I think we need to just get into the week.
Well, that's good.
Pleasure.
And pain. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on that little montage.
I still can't get over that your wife doing it. I mean, that still kind of gets me every time.
We did a couple takes. It was funny.
But yeah, we'll do pleasures. But so the first two guys I'm going to bring up here, quarterbacks, of course, they're not like starters or anybody's favorite. They're probably only my favorites, but the kind of guys I picked up early. I got Josh Dobbs, played surprisingly well. He's right around that top 10 quarterback range. When he was traded to the Cardinals, nobody's seen it. But I want to give him his props. He's been playing pretty well. Played well again today. I mean, right now, I think he's a viable QB2. Maybe. What's your thoughts?
You throw up over 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, no pickles, and 48 yards rushing. You are a viable QB2, and it begs to wonder because before, I mean, the Cardinals, they played probably the best team in the NFL today. But I think it's not even close. I mean, the Bills might be close, but the 49ers are the cream of the crop, I think. And they lost by a ton, but he didn't get picked by the stellar defense. They just got Christian McCaffrey, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But yeah, if you can probably still even trade and get him for a box of peanuts because they're going to say, oh, Josh Dobbs, cool, here, whatever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was funny because last week I asked you a question, should I start Josh Dobbs over Justin Fields? No, I'm glad I didn't start Josh Dobbs over Justin
That's
Fields.
number 2?
but if I did, I mean, Dobbs wouldn't have let me down. He still came through. And the other guy I wanted to bring up, I mean, we didn't even know he was going to start, but he did have a great game. But he got his first start of his career, all because the great Jimmy Garoppolo once again did not play, and that was Aiden O'Connell. He played okay, threw a big pick at the end of the game, but I just wanted to bring him up because he got his first NFL start.
Uh, Congratulations. That's not pleasurable though. That's just
It is for
dumb.
me.
I mean, he made Josh Jacobs really good for
But
fantasy.
also, I could just get a bar bin for the great Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, of course, we all
I
knew.
think it's more you're basking in the misery, the pain
Yeah,
of for the pleasure of it. It could have been Satan himself playing quarterback in Oakland. And he'd been like, "Go Satan!"
yeah, I can't stand that guy. But okay, going to the big pleasures. I'm gonna go with the Bears offense here. We got the three-headed trio. We got Justin Fields finally had a big game. Khalil Herbert finally had a big game. I know there was talk about Roshan Johnson
Who?
taking over that work. That totally did not go that way. Khalil Herbert got all of that, and then DJ Moore had a good game. But we really can't trust this, right? It was just Denver.
You know, yeah, you can't trust it. I mean, they still lost. So if you're a Bears fan, you're sitting there going, "Hmm." So you're telling me next year we could have Justin Fields, we could have Khalil Herbert and Rashawn Johnson, we could have DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Marvin Harrison Jr., and maybe even trade that first pick for you trade that away and get like 22 first picks to build around. As a Bears, I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, but stranger things have happened. This is what Justin Fields did last year. He stunk up the world. And about 4 days ago, I was offered Justin Fields for Kyler in a dynasty straight up, and I didn't do it. Just like the same guy I didn't trade for Achan a couple weeks ago. But yeah, oops. I don't know how long it'll last, but this week it looks beautiful.
Oh yeah, it looks great. It makes you feel good that you actually got refund out of this, but it also gives you more confidence to continue starting Justin Fields, because if you would have had a bad game, you're thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna have to do something here. I just can't continue throwing this out." Yeah, I might have to start. I might have had to start Josh Dobbs. It was coming. It might have been coming to that point. But yeah, it gives him another week of all right, Justin Fields. But yeah, he was able to throw the ball this week. That was the biggest difference. I mean, probably the best throwing game that he had in his whole career. So I mean, that's going to be hard to replicate, but we'll see. The next, I'm going to go to Houston. What's
funny
that?
on his stats, he threw for 335 and he had 35 yards and sack yards lost each. Like they had 300 yards passing. That's hilarious. Anyway, sorry, I just saw that.
He does still taking quite a few sacks. Next, I'm going to go down to Houston. Again, 3 players that performed really well. CJ Stroud is just taking over the world. I still can't believe that. I mean, I'm happy to see it, but it's still hard to believe. We got Nico Collins. I mean, evidently this guy is for real. And Damian Pierce finally had a decent game to where you can be like, okay, Damian Pierce, I'm comfortable starting. But I want to first talk about Stroud here. I mean, we're talking Stroud is like a legit. Are we maybe low end QB1 at this point? I mean, is he teetering?
He's throwing 300 yards a week. I'm excited for this because of the 3, he was the one I liked the most, and by dumb luck, I got him in a league. But I love seeing this. I mean, and he's not running either. So that's the cool thing. Like he's shown that a pocket passer can excel. Even a guy who everybody assumed because of his build and just standard blah 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 that we won't get into, that he was going to be a runner, but he is in the pocket, stout looking. And Pittsburgh's not a. It's not like he's throwing on the Texans defense, who supposedly apparently is really good, but he's throwing against decent defenses to put him up here. And this Houston Texans teams I was thinking today while watching, could they be this year's Jaguars? Like the team you're like, oh, they were going to be okay, but they're outperforming by a mile what they should be doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm completely surprised. I'm gonna have to bring out the old Texans jump back to the bandwagon real quick. Nico Collins, you pretty comfortable with starting him every week from going forward?
I need to. I got him on a couple of teams. I started him on a couple. Another one I started last week, but not next week because next week's Tank Dell, and then the week after that's Nico, and then Tank Dell, and then Nico. They sort of have like reverse they have reverse Tyler Lockett's, but they just take turns versus just being asleep for a while. But no, yeah, Nico looks like he's still in single digit targets, but I mean Stroud, the thing that we are missing in our love for him is he still barely completed half his passes, 16 of 30.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Justin Fields like accuracy, but he's a rookie. So I think looking forward, like this year, they're not winning the Super Bowl, but they're creating a core. I love D'Amico Ryans. He was one of my favorite players to watch, and now as a coach, it's even better. So yeah, and Damian Pierce again. It was the Steelers. He did great against the Steelers. Kudos. Still
yeah. Then
3.4 per carry.
yeah. And then I got two guys I'm still not complete on. I'm not a huge fan of, but I still keep bringing them up. I just don't know how it's happening. That's Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson. Both of them performed well again. Russell Wilson's a top 10 quarterback somehow, even though that team is absolutely terrible. And Mayfield and keep strumming along here, even though Mike Evans did get injured, allowed Chris Godwin to have a little better of a game. Anything
Yeah.
there real quick?
I just love that those were two of my guys. Now I was a Baker guy. You know that I was a Baker guy. You laughed at me, and he's making. I think Baker, the way he's playing, he could be the Tampa quarterback for the next 3 to 4 years. We could be talking about him for 3 to 4 years.
I mean, maybe we'll see. All right,
Switch it
over to running back. I'm gonna stick to a couple big names here. We got CMC. He ended up with the 4 touchdowns. He could have got the 5th one to tie the record, but they didn't let him get it. They was working on his neck. Maybe he was just like, man, just don't worry about it. So the question I want to ask you is, how close to CMC being on the Mount Rushmore of all-time fantasy running backs to you? Or is he already there?
That is quite. I don't know. Like he's up there. We take it for granted because it's happening now. Because to me, before him, you're talking Peterson. Then we had LT, and then Barry Sweetness. He's got to be up there. We just got to take about 2 more years to get away from those years he was hurt. Because everybody goes, "Oh yeah, he was hurt all those years." But when CMC plays, I have not seen, not even AP. I have not seen a player this good consistently on every aspect of the game. Like Barry was beautiful to watch. I was too young to watch Sweetness or What Alive for Jim Brown, but he's gotta be. But will he be? He should.
Oh yeah, but I'm going more along the lines of just like fantasy related here. The last
fantasy. He's the second LT. He's like LT part 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch him play. And the next, I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry. He finally has a big game here. Maybe he'll continue being with Tennessee all year. Maybe not, but I'm still thinking this is going to be more the Derrick Henry that we get, other than what we got last week.
I hope so. I mean, Derrick Henry, not only is he the best running back on that team, but he's the best quarterback. So what can you do at this point? I mean, he's a monster. He's twice the size of everybody, and I got Derrick Henry running in 2 places and loving it. And I'm just watching his touchdown right there. That throwing touchdown.
All right. Yeah, next guy. So is David Montgomery just Jamal Williams a year later in that Lions offense?
He's Jamal Williams with a little Mario mushroom. So he's a little bit better than Williams, I think. Like I heard that compared to him and Williams. They get the similar stats, but he's a better runner. Like I love Jamal Williams. I was a big Jamal Williams fan from when he got drafted even. But David Montgomery's a better football player.
Yeah, I think he's probably a little better running back.
Per se. Yeah, he's a better running back. I mean, but then again, if you let most pros run 32 times, they're going to get a ton of yards unless they're running behind you and me as the lineman. So I can't believe they're giving him that much run and Jameer so little. That's just weird to me.
But I mean, we kind of seen it coming into the season. They paid him a good bit of money, and it's pretty much what worked last year. So why go away with it?
Split it. Like I don't see that. I don't know why they split it.
I don't know if they wasted it, but yeah, I mean, if
it's 3 years,
not really.
David Montgomery's 2 or 3 years, so that's going to be almost over half of the first contract for Jameer Gibbs. So it's.
I don't know if Montgomery will last 3 years or 2 or 3 years. I'm not too sure about.
But I'm gonna poison pill.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ride Montgomery while it happens. So I got two more running backs, but pretty much had the same game. Devon Achane and Kyron Williams. They both played really well, even though Mostert did not. Hope you traded real high last week. But yeah, both of them look good. H they said he's gonna get more work going into the week. I guess they didn't lie to us. Some coaches lie, they didn't. But I didn't get to watch the game. But guessing he looked good, right?
Yeah, he didn't get much. He got 8 carries. He just was doing that good. He looks strong to the hole. And once, like, for about half the game, they just called terrible stuff. So all the running backs weren't worth a dilly squat. He was the lone bright spot on that entire stinking team today. It was bad, but he looks exactly what I thought he would be in that offense. You put him anywhere else, I don't think we would have had this player. But it's just the way it's a scheme. It really, like, he looked good. And Kyron Williams, I was on the boat of saying he was a guy I was saying sell high because he just really wasn't getting what he got this week. Like, he said, "Hey, DJ Dub, I heard you. Here you go." And dude got 25 carries. He wasn't getting 100 yards. He was getting 47, 48, 51. Yeah. He was getting some catches. This week he lowered on the catches and became a running back, so it's not as good for fantasy, but he's still getting two. He's getting touchdowns. He's a touchdown machine. So, yeah,
Yeah,
best way for pick up this year.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of work for the whole season. So as long as he stays healthy, you can keep right feeling pretty safe with him. All right, over to wide receivers. I guess AJ Brown got kind of mad at me for saying that Devonta Smith was the new number one in Philly. The last 2 weeks, he was like, probably not. I'm still the guy. He was looking fantastic out there, looking like the AJ Brown from last year. Finally breaking out.
I can't wait to see the wind sprints he's going to run this week after he gets that taunting penalty in the end zone. But, dude, AJ Brown looked like the beast of AJ Brown. The thing was, he only had 2 more catches than Devonta Smith, but he had almost 100 yards more than Devonta Smith. He just looked bigger, stronger, faster, what he is. They both have their roles, and both those guys can be very effective in that offense. It's just, who's it going to be this week? They're the Seahawks part 2.
That guy is a big dude running out there. I can't believe how monstrous he is. And I'm gonna go back to Thursday here with wide receiver. Your guy Romeo Dubs, is he pretty much the wide receiver one in Green Bay, right?
I believe I said that in the preseason. Well, right now, yeah. But that was the tout before, was that Jordan Love was connecting with Romeo Doubs. Christian Watkins is everybody's darling, and they liked him a lot. But it was Romeo Doubs was the guy that Love was hitting in the offseason. So that's why he's the guy he's giving 13 targets. Christian Watkins is still coming back. So we'll see what happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks if it's true. But 13 targets don't lie. I got to start playing him. He's on all my benches. 13 targets, man. No touchdowns, but 13. That's what you look for, a target.
Speaking of starting to play him, your boy Puka Nacua made another showing this week. We're definitely starting him every week, right?
Puka was in my lineups, except in our one league where my receivers are so good. He's still in my taxi squad. I think he's coming off this week. But my receivers are so good. It's like I was like, man, I want to take Puka off, but they're so good. But you get 163 yards. I'm playing you. I don't care. I'll play you over. I don't have any running backs in that league. So if you need a first round pick, just send me a running back. You don't have any either. But yeah, 163 yards.
Yeah, it still amazes me that people like this can go unnoticed and just break into the NFL.
I noticed him. Yeah. He's my guy this year.
But yeah. I guess Sean McVay just knows what he's doing. He can make anybody look good if he really wants to.
See what happens when what's his name comes back, though. That'll be the catch.
Yeah. There's not going to be as many targets to go around when Cooper Kupp comes back. All right, that's the pleasure. Going over the pain. I think the biggest pain of the week, or maybe of the year, absolutely, has got to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is playing like dog crap. Jamar Chase in return is also playing like dog crap. T. Higgins.
He's always open. He's always open.
He's got evidently he broke a rib. Now he's playing like dog crap. Joe Mixon,
he's
playing like dog crap.
Joe Mixon.
But he's Joe Mixon. This has got to be the biggest disappointment so far in the beginning of the season, right?
Not even close. They were. I'd be curious what the beginning of the season Super Bowl odds were on this team. it begs to wonder if they should have literally set Joe Burrow this first month. Is that calf really slowing him down? That could be it. I mean, if you go look up the Jamar Chase post game rant, like they got him on a live mic dropping the F bomb, like I'm always flipping open, and he's like, "Oh, sorry for the language," but he's mad, but he's still got 73 yards, but it's the team looks like garbage. They lost to the Titans, who we thought were garbage, and we thought they might be like. I'm
No,
glad.
they are. I mean, Titans are garbage. Titans are garbage.
But the Bengals must be. They must be buried garbage. That's on. They're a flaming bag of poo, right? Just it's Halloween, baby. It's October.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then another guy that I wanted to bring up, ended up getting benched by the end of the game. That's Mac Jones. It did not look good. Throwing interceptions all over the place, pick sixes. Bailey Zappi ended up coming in. Does Bailey Zappi start next week? And the Mac Jones, I mean,
we've played this game before. I don't know. This morning, one of the questions from your brother-in-law was, do I start Mac Jones or Brock Purdy? I said, the answer will never be Mac Jones. That was my answer on the thing. He's like, I knew that, but I had to ask. But I don't know. It depends upon if Belichick goes, okay, that was that really good Cowboys defense that decided they felt sorry for the Cardinals last week, or if he really was like Mac Jones isn't that great. He's not the answer. Bailey Zappi's not the answer either. So it could be they find the one that's the most terrible so they can get a quarterback next year and move on from there, because Belichick's not an idiot. He's like, Zeke is my running back. I'm giving him 6 carries. We're wasting Ramondre. We have no receivers. No receivers. We have nothing but some good defensive players. Let's get some offensive players next year and rebuild this thing. So let's let the stinkiest one play. So probably Mac Jones.
Yeah, it's
all I got.
Good. It's not good. I just wanted to bring up Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. I mean, it's bad. Kenny Pickett also got hurt, but he wasn't looking good either. So I mean, I guess maybe the Kenny Pickett experiment might be in trouble as well.
I don't know. I think I looked up. I was watching like stat lines. It was like Kenny Pickett had like what four yards at one point in the second quarter. I'm like, oh my goodness, four yards. Like, I mean, he only had 114 total yards, and I mean, and then but he's hurt. So I don't know how bad I haven't heard anything on the update on the injury. Like Mitch Trubisky came in. So is everybody excited for Mitch Trubisky again like last year? And Kenny
always.
Pickett,
I mean, every time there's a quarterback gets a chance to play, everybody we get excited for him.
But can I say in that game, I got a little bit of the tingles from Najee. He looked like he had signs of life, but it was the Texans.
Well, it doesn't. I mean,
little tingles. Not pleasure, but just tingles.
It doesn't take much to show you signs of life from Najee, because there absolutely was none before.
He looked strong though. When he was running, he looked strong again.
He should look strong every week, if you ask me. You mentioned it a little earlier, Ramondre Stevenson. You were a fan. I mean, how disappointed? I mean, I was a fan too, but I mean, how disappointed are you in Ramondre Stevenson not even resembling what he was at all last
year? I love Ramondre, and I thought he'd be like, I got him ranked fairly high. I got to move him in my dynasty rankings.
Oh, so are you starting him, or are you going to give him a rest on the bench?
It depends on my backfield. I mean, who does New England have next week? Let me pull that up. It depends who they're playing. Like, they're not going to play the Cowboys or the Bills next week, are they? Next week they have the Saints. So it's a tough defense next week still. But I mean, if you got him that high, he's one of those players that you got to play or try to look smarter than him. I mean, what running back? If you have him and you drafted him in the second round, maybe third. What other running back do you have that you're going to play unless you got Achane in the 12th round? Like you need a magical thing there because you invested so high in him. I don't think you have a choice.
Yeah, I agree. If you got a better choice, kudos. If not, you're gonna have to just stick it out. Hopefully, he gets lucky. And I wanted to bring up Travis. I wanted to bring up a Jaguar here. Just bring up Travis Etienne because he didn't have a very good game. The only reason I wanted to bring up that game because I was. The only way I could watch the game is on Disney Plus. They had like this animated and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of interesting. If I had like a 3-year-old kid, I bet I would have enjoyed so much watching that football game like that. I mean, it was a blast. Did you get a chance to check it out at all?
You need to hang out with me. I'm a 3-year-old kid. Like, I would have loved it, except we were at church all morning. So until I got home, my family was watching it while I was watching the Dolphins. I'd come in and see sneak peeks. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I'm hoping they do more. I mean, I don't know how they missed like the Nickelodeon slime game. My kids love like that slime crazy wild game, but there's nothing to it. This is even cooler. I mean, this is AI at its best. Like,
I mean, I feel like you could do at least one of these games every week, just for you, just maybe like a little family. But I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of, it had me laughing. There was a couple spots. It sounded like a video game. They were talking. It was kind of amusing, but that was more of a pleasure than a pain. I really didn't have anybody to
Do you
bring
have
up.
any other pains from that game that's just been a pain for a while that goes with a little bit of a pleasure?
Oh,
It's,
go ahead if you want.
can I add one here? Like,
Yeah, go ahead.
is Kyle Pitts benched for Johnny Smith? Are you now starting Johnny Smith instead of Kyle? I mean, Johnny Smith, 6 targets, 95 yards. Kyle Pitts, 4 targets, 2 for 21. Like, are you starting Johnny Smith next week in the realm of tight ends? Because Kyle Pitts stinks.
I mean, I guess if you're asking if I mean, I'd still
If you have
probably
Kyle Pitts,
say,
are you starting Kyle Pitts? Is the question.
I mean, definitely, probably not. You can't stop if you want to win. I don't think you can start Kyle Pitts at this point. I mean, you gotta flex off because, like I said, we're trying to win here, and if he's only giving you 2 or 3 points, not helping you at all, and I mean, it might be the point where you just can't start Kyle Pitts anymore. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really really bad.
ETN's getting the touches to your question. He's just not getting the. I mean, he had 20 touches.
Oh yeah, a lot of touches. I
It's
mean, he
gonna
only had like
bounce
50
back.
yards.
They're in London. That's just London. It's like playing on a Thursday night. It's gonna stink. They'll be there all this week, so I expect it. It's the Bills. So the Bills might be kind of keep an eye on the Bills next week because having to fly over there, time zone, da 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 da. But they're staying in London.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that might work out. So next, I got Javonte Williams gets injured. He had a bad hip. You don't know how that works out, but more interested in how big is the pickup of Jaleel McLaughlin this week? Is he like is he the waiver wire darling for the week?
Youngstown State, baby. Yeah, he's got to be. I mean, who else is there? I mean, there goes my fab. See if you can outbid me, man. He's got to. I mean, we'll talk about him a little later in the show, but if Javante's not playing, apparently it's not P. Ryan. I mean, he got some touches, but he just wasn't as efficient. And McLaughlin's getting all aspects of the game. I mean, who knows? Heck, maybe he takes over. He's got a couple touchdowns this year.
I mean, it wouldn't be surprised. There's always a running back that comes out of nowhere, and especially in Denver, it just reminds you of like the old Denver teams from like the late '90s when the running backs just come out of nowhere.
Name those guys. I wish I could pull those names right now. There's
Yeah,
some good names.
switching over to wide receiver. I got a couple wide receivers here. Chris Olave, not a very good game at all. Debo Samuel, with the return of Brandon Ayuk. Shout out to Brandon Ayuk, had a crazy game. We're looking like the number one wide receiver. Debo not looking good. He did have kind of an injury coming in. Who are you more confident for the rest of the season, Chris Olave or Debo Samuel?
Oh, I mean, it's Olave. We said it last week. Debo is a great football player, but he's fantasy relevant if you're missing one of those other three guys. So if there's no Ayuk, no CMC, no Kittle. I mean, Kittle wasn't anything to write home about, but he takes in their roles along with his role, and his role is so much lower when there's all four of them. Olave just had a poop of a game. I mean, he just fell under. Apparently, they wanted to see how many times they could throw to Alvin Kamara for 2.5 yards a catch. Like literally 13 catches for 2.5 yards a catch. Like that's all Derek Carr wanted to do because he's hurt. And for some reason, that was the shock of the day too. They played Derek Carr. Jameis Winston must be that bad. You have a out of AC joint, and you're gonna play that guy versus a guy who's healthy. He might be squinting to see the ball, but he's healthy. It just seems that worries me that you might need a new backup quarterback because your best player got 4 yards.
Yeah, I'm a little more confident in Olave with, like I said, with the return of Brandon Ayuk. Shout out, still a great game, quite the pleasure. But another guy I wanted to bring up, because I also wanted to bring up his quarterback, and this will be the last guy. That's Michael Pittman. I thought with the return of Anthony Richardson, who, by the way, had a fabulous 11 for 25 passing. He did get some rushing, but that 11 for 25, it just caught my eye. Your receivers aren't going to be all that great, with only 11 targets out there. But I expected a little more with the return. Not really confident in Michael Pittman at this point either.
Pittman, no. Anthony Richardson, what you said he was going to be for fantasy, like you look at him as a pro player, like he's like, he's like a poor man's Cam Newton. Like Cam was putting up bigger passing numbers. I mean, he still had 3 touchdowns. He accounted for 3 touchdowns, 56 yards rushing, and 2 passing touchdowns, no interceptions. So what can you do? But when you said it, the receivers are going to not benefit from that. It's either one or none is generally how these teams go. Like it'll be so spread out that I mean, 3 catches was the most for a receiver, and everybody else had 2 or 1 reception, and that was the team. And that's gonna be what you get, I think.
Yeah, it's some random tight end that does. Why is this tight end getting play?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about those guys.
Oh yeah,
right.
Perfect segue. Yep.
Surefire waste of a touchdown.
And it was interesting this week. It didn't feel like there was many wastes as I went through and just reviewed the games. But there's more than I thought. So this one might be his last chance. We say he pops up a lot, but he still wastes touchdowns because you're not playing him. It was a 13-yard pass for the Tennessee Titans from your second favorite quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, to Nick Westbrook Akene. You hear his name multiple times on here because you're still not starting the dude. He's not even on your roster, so that would make him a.
Oh, it's definitely a surefire waste. But I think this guy could lead the league in surefire waste of touchdowns.
Oh, yes.
Because I mean, like I say, he only scores touchdowns randomly every 5 or 6 games, and he does nothing else in between. And we're obviously not starting that, so that's surefire waste of a touchdown.
Now, name this dude. There is a pass in Tennessee from Derrick Henry. We already mentioned that, so that's a wasted passing touchdown. Unless I get 4 points. But to I think he's a tight end, Josh Weil, 2-yard touchdown pass from Derrick Henry. He could even be a lineman for all I know. I'm not going to even pull it up because it's not worthwhile. But yeah, I don't think you've even heard of Josh Weil, so that would make it a
surefire waste of a touchdown. It wouldn't surprise me if he was some offensive lineman somewhere. It just makes me wonder, are we going to get a surefire waste of a touchdown from Treylon Burks or DeAndre Hopkins anytime soon?
You won't let me do them.
I think if they score a touchdown, I think you can officially put them in this category because they are – I mean, are you starting either one of those guys?
You're starting DeAndre. Well, let me first. You're not. Nobody who wants to is starting DeAndre Hopkins, but people are starting DeAndre Hopkins because he's DeAndre Hopkins. It's like we started Julio till he stopped playing. We were dumb. We would keep playing Julio, even if you had him. It's Julio freaking Jones. You're gonna play. It's that kind of like Burks, probably not, but it was one of those kind of deals. Like I think you're starting D Hop. You don't want to, but okay. I was in the bum today because my team got walloped, but there was a nice 11-yard touchdown to his only touchdown of the day that wasn't stolen from the running back. And it was right in the corner of the end zone to Jalen Waddle's he might be a pain for this year. What we thought he'd be last year. But no. A guy who I thought was a stellar signing for the team, punt returner extraordinaire, Braxton Berrios with an 11-yard touchdown reception. That's really cool, but that's
surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I didn't even know he was on the team, so.
Yeah, I knew they got him. He's a punt returner, and I figured he might do the Wes Welker role, but they don't need it. So you got a 1-yard touchdown run from your Washington Commanders. Go straight there. Let's go Brad Robinson. We could count the one where he fumbled it, and then Terry McLaurin gets a touchdown, or we got the one he gets nope. Oh, let's go with one of our favorites from the past that we probably haven't talked about much. Curtis Samuel, 1-yard touchdown run. We love the guy, but yeah. That's a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I think Sam Howell actually played pretty well today. I was kind of surprised that the
last drive
played that well. But yeah, Curtis Samuel. I'm surprised he's still on the team. But shout out.
Yeah, that last drive in regulation was really, really good. This is a 1 week only. Unlike Nick Akene Westbrook, this one's going to change because we're talking about picking him up. 18-yard pass from Russell Wilson. Jaleel McLaughlin. He gets it this week. After this week, he is graduating into a pleasure or a pain because for this week only, because no one has him yet, that makes it a
surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing how much money this guy goes for. He's gonna get somebody's full wallet.
You're welcome. Russell Wilson's continuing to kick us in the butt. He got a 4-yard pass to Jerry Jeudy. Nope, he stinks. Cortland Sutton. Oh, he gets a touchdown, but he fumbles all the time. Nope. How about Brandon Johnson again? This is his second approach on here. People still didn't pick him up, so that still makes it a
surefire waste of a touchdown. I think he might be in Westbrook and Keno kind of role there.
Speaking, we were talking about your boy Anthony Richardson. He decided he just wants to fill up this entire tree with surefire waste over touchdowns. The last two we're going two for. The first one he has is a 35-yard pass. We've established it's not Michael Pittman. It's not Alec Pierce, who's dead this year. It's not Zach Moss. And he also has a 5-yard pass as well. None of those guys. Although Pittman did get the 2-point conversion and Moss got the 2-point conversion for these. But the first one was Mo Alley Cox for a 35-yard touchdown. Welcome back from the dead. And Drew Ogletree, 5-yard touchdown. Both of those were great if you're a Colts fan or you had Anthony Richardson. But for everybody else in the world,
surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I was maybe hoping for a Kylan Granson tight end touchdown there at some point, but I guess not. Not the tight end of the week, I guess.
Well, and Baker's doing the same kind of deal here for us. One guy you've heard of, one guy I didn't know existed on the face of the planet Earth. So he has 1-yard touchdown and a 5-yard touchdown. We would assume, I think these might see, I'm trying to look at the time here, if they were after Evans got hurt. They might have been. But so it had to be Godwin. No. Kate Otten got one. No. No, yeah. The rookie, Trey Palmer, he's gotten a couple, but we'll put him on it for now. Now people might start playing him. Or the last one is a 5-yard pass to Devin Tompkins. He just appeared on the planet Earth. He just popped up on Earth. He never existed until today. He's just like spawned out of the earth and caught a ball. Because Trey Palmer, dynasty guys might have, but no one started him. But both of those have to be.
Surefire waste of a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, that one guy, I don't even know. I've never even heard of him.
Neither did I. Yeah. I haven't looked up what position. He's a receiver. I thought he was a running back or something.
I mean, he may never get one of these again, but hey, you're on there, buddy.
Yeah, so there's my wasted touchdowns this week. JJ Wayne, give us some wisdom, get us out of here, and let's finish up the nights and get ready for week 5.
Yeah, I'm not words of wisdom, but I seen our home team JMU pick up another victory yesterday, 5-0. Just give a shout out to these guys moving up to Division 1. Still looking good. Of course, they're not playing the big dogs yet. Give them a couple more years, but hey, as long as these guys are still winning. That's all that matters. That means they got an opportunity. So as always, search yourself and trust the process.